I never expected to start a video like this, but something terrifying has been happening to me, and I need to tell someone before it gets worse. Over the last few weeks, recordings of my voice have been showing up on my devices. Messages, voice notes, even full conversations, none of which I ever made. At first, I thought it was a glitch, but the tone, the breath, the pauses, they sound exactly like me.
The first recording appeared on my phone while I was at work. A simple voice memo titled Test. When I played it, I heard myself whisper, "Can you hear me now?" The whisper wasn't something I'd ever do. It was strained, like someone forcing my vocal cords from the inside. I deleted it instantly, trying to convince myself it was an accidental pocket recording. But later that night, another audio file appeared, this time on my laptop. Same voice, same whisper. Only this one said, "Why did you erase me?" The file had no metadata, no creation date, no source. It was as if it materialized out of nothing. I shut the laptop, feeling like someone was watching me, even though I was alone in the room.
I tried to ignore it until I found a third recording, and this one chilled me to the bone. It wasn't a whisper. It was my voice, speaking clearly, calmly. "Stop pretending. You know I'm real." The tone wasn't angry. It sounded disappointed, like a friend confronting me. But I had never spoken those words. The timestamp said 3:12 a.m., a time when I was deep asleep.
That night, I set my phone face down and tried to fall asleep. I woke up at 3:12 a.m. again, this time from a faint sound, breathing. Slow, steady breathing, like someone standing beside my bed. I checked my phone, and a new recording was waiting. My heart pounded as I pressed play, praying it would be nothing. But it started with that same breathing. After the breathing, my voice spoke quietly, "Wake up." I froze. The recording continued, "I'm right next to you." Couldn't move. The room was pitch black except for the faint glow of the screen. I reached for the light switch, but the moment the light came on, the breathing stopped, and the room was empty. The recording ended with a soft laugh. My laugh. The next day, I checked my devices for hacks, malware, anything logical. Everything came back clean. No remote access, no unusual activity. A tech friend even looked through the code in my phone and said it was pristine. If someone was messing with me, they were doing it in a way that shouldn't be possible. And my recordings were getting longer.
The eighth file wasn't a whisper or a warning. It was me narrating my entire day, events that hadn't happened yet. "You'll take the bus," it said. "You'll sit in the back. Don't ignore the man with the gray jacket." I thought it was nonsense until that evening, when, without thinking, I ended up on the bus, in the back, staring at a man in a gray jacket who kept glancing at me.
The man eventually stood up, walked past me, and before exiting muttered, "You heard it too, didn't you?" I didn't respond. I just stared at him, numb. He nodded slowly, like he understood something I didn't, and stepped off the bus. When I checked my phone again, the recording had updated itself. It now said, "He knows you're listening."
At this point, I stopped trying to understand the phenomenon. Instead, I focused on staying awake, staying alert. But exhaustion caught up. When I eventually fell asleep on the couch, I dreamed vividly. I saw myself standing in a dark hallway, speaking to someone who looked exactly like me. And in the dream, my double was recording me with my own phone.
When I woke up, my phone was in my hand, and a new recording waited. My voice, but not from my waking self, said, "You're getting closer. Come find me." The tone was inviting, almost warm. The recording included faint footsteps echoing behind my words, like walking in an empty house with high ceilings, a place I didn't recognize but felt drawn to.
I started avoiding my devices, turning them off or leaving them behind. But the recordings kept finding me. They would appear on public computers, borrowed phones, even a smart display at a friend's house. The same voice. My voice. Each time it grew more confident, more familiar, like it was learning to speak more like me, or becoming me.
One recording disturbed me more than the rest. It wasn't just sound. It had video. It showed me sleeping on my couch from an angle in the corner of the room, but there was no camera there. In the video, I saw a shadowy figure lean over me, not touching, just listening. And then the figure said, in my voice, "Soon." The clip ended abruptly.
Terrified, I checked every corner of my home. I even removed wall panels, searching for hidden devices. Nothing. Not a single camera, mic, or wire. The air felt heavy, like the room was holding its breath. I kept replaying the video, trying to catch details. The figure had my posture, my way of tilting my head, but its movements were slightly delayed, like an echo of myself.
I contacted the police, but they didn't take it seriously. Deepfakes, they said. Someone messing with you. But deepfakes don't appear on offline devices. They don't predict future events. They don't record you sleeping without any physical camera. The officer checked my ID photo, looked at me, and muttered, "It even sounds like you." He didn't file a report. I tried staying with friends, hoping the recordings would stop. They didn't. At 4 a.m., one friend woke me up, pale and shaking. He'd heard someone talking in my voice from the living room. When we checked, a smart speaker had started playing a message. "You can run, but he'll always catch up." The he in the message was unmistakably me. My friends begged me to see a therapist or take a break from stress. But this wasn't in my head. Too many witnesses. Too many impossible files. I began to wonder if the voice wanted something from me. Attention, compliance, maybe even cooperation. Each recording seemed to guide me somewhere, nudging me closer to a truth I didn't want to face.
Then came the longest recording yet. 13 minutes of my voice telling a story, my story. It spoke about a version of me that split off years ago, a part that lived in silence in the spaces between sound waves, a version waiting to reclaim something I'd stolen. The recording ended with, "You left me behind. It's time to fix that." I couldn't sleep for days after that. But when I finally drifted off, I found myself back in that hallway from my dream. Only this time, it felt real. The cold air, the echo of my footsteps, the familiar yet wrong scent. And at the far end, I saw myself. Perfect copy, same clothes, same breathing. He smiled like he'd been waiting ages.
My double approached, and as he did, I heard faint static, like a microphone being plugged in. "Stop fighting," he said. "I only want what's mine." His voice layered over mine, like two recordings playing simultaneously. I tried to speak, but no words came out. He reached for my throat, not to choke, but to feel how the sound vibrated under my skin. I jolted awake, gasping. But the fear didn't fade. My phone screen lit up instantly with a new file. It contained the exact dream I just had. Every word, every sound, every moment. As if someone recorded the inside of my mind. At the end of the file, the double's voice whispered, "We're almost the same now." My hands were shaking so badly I dropped the phone. The next few days were quiet. No new files, no strange dreams. The silence felt wrong, like the calm before a storm. I kept checking my devices, expecting another message. Nothing. But at night, I began hearing faint echoes. My voice repeating conversations I'd had earlier that day, as if replaying and studying them from somewhere close. Then the recordings returned, but they weren't on any device. I started hearing them in real time, like a second voice layered under my own whenever I spoke. When I ordered coffee, I heard myself repeat the order an octave lower. When I said goodnight to my neighbor, I heard another me whisper, "Good night," a second later. Always just a heartbeat behind. I stopped talking altogether to avoid hearing the echo. But silence didn't help. The second voice grew louder, clearer, until it spoke without me speaking first. One night, as I sat alone in my apartment, the voice said, "Let me in." Those 3 words rattled the air. They didn't come from my head, they came from right beside me. That's when I saw him again, my double, standing at the edge of the living room, half shadow, half solid. He didn't move, didn't blink. He just watched me, like I was the reflection, instead of him. I backed away slowly, and he mirrored me with perfect timing. Then he smiled, but his expression felt stretched, like a recorded grin forced onto a face. He stepped closer, and the room went cold. "You're the copy," he said. "I'm the original." His voice layered over mine like a perfect harmony. I felt my throat tighten, not in pain, but like someone else had access to it. I tried to scream, but the sound came out wrong, lower, broken, and not entirely mine. He laughed softly, enjoying my fear. He reached out, placing his hand on my chest. I felt a pull like my breath was being rewound, recorded backward. My vision blurred, and suddenly I was watching myself from his perspective. For a moment, I couldn't tell which one of us was real. Then he whispered, "I've waited long enough." Everything went silent, as if a final cut had been made. I woke up alone on the floor. My double was gone. Or maybe I was the one who had vanished. I checked my phone and there was only one new recording. Just one. It was me saying, "I'm back." The voice sounded calm, steady, confident. But something about the tone felt wrong, like whoever said it was trying the roll-on for size. Since then, people keep telling me I sound different, more assured, more present. My friends say I talk like someone who finally figured something out. But I don't feel like myself. Sometimes, when I speak, I hear a faint echo behind the words. Not like before, but like a memory of a second voice. And it laughs quietly whenever I hesitate. So if you ever find recordings of your voice you don't remember making, don't ignore them. Don't delete them. Because maybe it's not a glitch, not a prank, not a deep fake. Maybe it's the version of you that never made it into the real. So if you ever find recordings of your voice you don't remember making, don't ignore them, don't delete them. Because maybe it's not a glitch, not a prank, not a deep fake. Maybe it's the version of you that never made it into the real world, finally breaking through.
And if your voice ever whispers back, make sure it's actually you before you answer. If you made it all the way to the end, thanks for staying through this unsettling journey. What do you think my double really wanted? And do you believe the voice that came back at the end was still me? Or something else taking over? Drop your theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more horror stories every week. Stay safe and stay aware of your own voice.